Hey y'all, welcome back. If you don't know me, I'm TK, and this channel is all about doing a little bit of makeup, doing some food, having a lot of fun. And if that sounds like a good time to you, then go ahead, do all the YouTubey things, hit that subscribe button, make sure your notifications are turned on, and give a like on this video. How is everyone today? We are into the third week of our pre-summer music and makeup Monday series. These are all summer songs from different genres. Thus far we've done country,
Regular Joe's rocking the boat like us, the Redneck Yacht Club.
We have done R&B.
I'll be ready to party. Ain't nothing like them summer nights.
And this week we're gonna do pop. I kind of was like, pop, rock and roll, it's kind of hard to figure out, like, where does it all sit? Because as I'm finding out, not a lot of songs are actually written about summertime. The way that I'm defining these summer songs is like, these are songs that actually talk about summer, talk about doing summer things. It's not that easy to actually find songs that are like that actually talk about the summer. So this week is pop/rock. Let's talk about the makeup before we talk about the music. The palettes that I'm going to be using today are Eyes Cream from Dose. This is a palette that was decluttered by my niece, and then she gifted it to me. And then we're using Colori Vivace. I got this from BH Cosmetics. I love this. I absolutely love this palette. Okay, so let's talk about the music. All right, the first song up is a song that I think you probably all know, because it doesn't really matter what age you are. You've probably heard this song used for something. It's been used for a commercial. It's been used for a video. You've heard it used somewhere. And that is the song Kokomo. It's a song that was recorded by the American band The Beach Boys. This was a song that was recorded by the Beach Boys in 1988 for the film Cocktail. That was a Tom Cruise movie, and I'll bet y'all know about that movie. That was fantastic. I absolutely love the movie. Of course, I love Tom Cruise. I loved him in Top Gun before that. The song was written by John Phillips, Scott McKenzie, Mike Love, and Terry Melcher. And it makes reference to some real Caribbean islands. It has a very Caribbean feel. What I love about the song is that it is kind of that sitting by a tiki bar on the beach, taking advantage of all the great things that happen at the beach, the food and the waves and the sun and all those happy good things. The song was released as a single on July 18th of 1988 by Elektra Records, and it became a #1 hit in the US. By 1988, I was already a bartender, and that movie Cocktail made me want to really go all in. Be a bartender. Be a really good one. Be one that everybody comes to the bar to see, and like they don't come to the bar unless you're there. It's a great story about a guy who, he comes from kind of what he thinks is nothing. His dad just runs this like local bar. And he's like, no, I want to go out and make my way in the world. And the dad's like, you're going to find out the world is going to have its way with you. And it's like, no, I got this really good friend who's been there, done that. He's going to show me the ropes. And that was a fantastic performance in that movie, turned in by Brian Brown as that guy. In the end, spoiler alert, he meets a girl. He gets the girl, and they go back home to run Dad's bar. And he's going to be the hotshot bartender in the local neighborhood bar because it's okay to just settle down and have roots. What a great movie. And this song came from it. It was great. It was sort of like a transition song between like one place where Tom Cruise was, and then he and Brian Brown like have a falling out. And then he's like, fuck it, I'm going down to Jamaica and I'm going to open a tiki bar on the beach because like that was my dream anyways. I'm just going to do my shit down there. The song was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Song Written for a Movie, but it got nudged out by Phil Collins' Two Hearts, which was written for the movie Buster in that same year. And it was also beaten out for a Golden Globe in that same year. I remember hearing on the radio station the year that this song came out, and they were like, there's a line in the song that goes, Martinique, something, something, something. And I remember at the radio station, they were like, what is that line? What is that line that comes after that? And I was like, okay, let me go home, listen to the song, listen. It's Martinique, that Montserrat mystique. That's the line. They were like, people were coming back with like, no, it's margaritas and steak. Or it's Montserrat and steak. I'm like, are you guys even listening to this same song? Like, how are you getting this so wrong? I remember just there being this thing about the song, and that it wasn't that easy to distinguish the lyrics all the time in it. But what a great song. What a great summer song. It's just, if you're heading to the beach, man, that's the one you start out with. You got to start your playlist with that one. Next song I'm going to talk about is Endless Summer Nights by Richard Marx. Richard Marx is an artist that I really feel like is very underrated. He was really big in the 80s. Endless Summer Nights was a song from his demo tape, from one of his original demo tapes. The lyrics were inspired by a trip to Hawaii that he took with his then fiance, really his soon-to-be wife, Cynthia Rhodes. In the liner notes, in his 1997 Greatest Hits, he says that aside from replacing the synthesized bass with the great Nathan East, this recording is the demo that every record company in the business rejected in 1985 and 1986. I'm not sure how you could pass up this song. This song is really, really, really good. And it has a lot of those same themes as the Kenny Chesney and Uncle Kracker song, When the Sun Goes Down. You know, it has those themes of, first of all, summer love. Second of all, hanging out on the beach all day long and just waiting for the sun to go down to kind of like go do stuff, dance on the beach and hit a club up or whatever, but just to be together in those summer nights. That's what I love about this song. I love those summer nights vibes of this is when the beach comes alive in a very different way. During the day, it's like families, kids, dogs, beach balls, volleyball, all that stuff. At night, it's like everybody's got a little bit of that shimmer lotion on because they're showing off their tan, and they've got like, they're dressed a lot differently, and the wind is coming in off the water, and you've got your makeup on like you're heading to dinner, or you're heading to a club, or you're just heading to a beachside bar where you can sit in the sand or whatever and like have a drink and have fun. The beach comes alive in very different ways in 24 hours. And this song is just those great endless summer nights. It was released in January of 1988. It was the third single from his debut solo album. And it entered the US Billboard Hot 100 at 53, and it was the highest debut of that week. In March and April, the song hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 behind Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. I feel like I should do a whole episode of this about songs that would have been number 1 if it hadn't been for Michael Jackson. Like, I feel like Michael Jackson is just a gimme for number 1, so that if you were number 2 while Michael Jackson was at number 1, you were number 1 as well. It peaked at number 2 on the US Billboard Adult Contemporary chart, and that was behind Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Elsewhere, this single was pretty popular in like Sweden, Australia. Richard Marx is definitely one of those underrated artists, and I would encourage you to go ahead and find him. Find Endless Summer Nights first of all and put it on your summer playlist. That's number 1. And then go find some of his other stuff, because wow, he really has some great music out there. Next one we're going to talk about is California Girls. I know, it's not really a lot about beach activity, but I'll tell you why I love this song. I love this song so much. First of all, I love the original by the Beach Boys. It was recorded by them in 1965 on their album Summer Days and Summer Nights. It was written by Brian Wilson and Mike Love of the Beach Boys, obviously. Basically, the lyrics just describe an appreciation for how the girls look in California. They always tan, long hair, gorgeous bikinis. I mean, it's in Southern California, is it not always summer? And that song reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was top 10 hit in several other countries. It basically launched the Beach Boys as a global talent. But my favorite, which if you're a Beach Boys fan, fine, clock me for this, was in 1985, David Lee Roth, who was rock and roll's bad boy, right? He covered it in 1985. He actually had background vocals from Beach Boy Carl Wilson and from Christopher Cross. You might know from the song Sailing And if you don't know that song and you don't know who Christopher Cross is, you'll find out in June. And just like the original, it peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. The music video is the thing that I like. The music video is what makes it a summer song for me. The music video is all about summer and beach and girls. And yes, I doubt that it would play today because it really looks like a lot of objectification of the girls in the video. And nobody would like that kind of a video being done today. But literally, that's what the song is about. It's about an appreciation for the California girls. I don't know, I guess it was okay when Katy Perry did it. We're all right with that? Okay. David Lee Roth says that, the character in the video is this Diamond Dave. He says, that was definitely a part of me. I grew up loving and adoring the whole Southern California thing. He's like, but you know what? He's like, I absolutely delight in it. He said, you don't have to be there to celebrate the spirit. I absolutely love this song. I love the whole basically absurdity of the video. The video was even spoofed by Elton John in his video for I'm Still Standing. And that is California Girls by David Lee Roth. The next song we're going to talk about is All Summer Long by Kid Rock. When I first heard this song, I was like, wait a minute, who's covering Lynyrd Skynyrd, right? And then I heard it was Kid Rock, and then I'm like, well, I guess he's allowed. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. I mean, yeah, it's Skynyrd, but that's not my song. And it was so cool, and I just love there's all these little sort of pieces of Southern rock in this song. I absolutely love it. The song was inspired by Bob Seger's Night Moves, as well as Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd, and it sampled both of those. The idea for this mashup came from Mike Clark, and according to Insane Clown Posse, Clark originally made the beat for them after suggesting sampling Werewolves of London. 8 people are literally credited for writing this song. The reason I love this song is because it talks a little bit more about just kind of hanging out at the lake, getting your best girl, let's go hang out at the lake with a bunch of friends, we'll play music, have some beers, we'll probably do a little tubing, and then the night comes and we're still doing all that, and we light a fire and we're still having a really good time and we're vibing. It's not really necessarily about like being at the beach and all those things that happen when you're out along the coastline. It's a little bit more about like more of the lake scene. The song was a #1 hit in Australia. It was so weird. Okay, because look, I look at Kid Rock as being rock and roll. I look at Kid Rock as being pop music. All right. But I had this discussion with my son, and he was like, no, Kid Rock is country. And I'm like, no, Alan Jackson is country. Kid Rock isn't country. He says, no, Kid Rock is country. I'm like, well, Kid Rock is country the way that Lynyrd Skynyrd is country. More like Southern fried rock. Okay, but that's still rock and roll. We argued about whether or not this song actually belonged in my pop video, because he was like, no, I don't think it belongs there because it's not pop, it's country. The song only reached number 85 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it reached number 14 on the Billboard Top 40, which is weird because usually the Hot 100 is just a reflection of the Top 40. And that said, it became Kid Rock's first country hit, reaching number 10 on the Billboard Hot Country charts. So maybe my son was right. Maybe he is a little bit country. Maybe he's like Donnie Marie. Maybe he's a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. So there was some controversy to this song. One of the lines is, we were trying different things, we were smoking pumpkins. So the biggest controversy to that was that the radio stations had to edit that. Of course, now in a lot of states you can smoke funny things, and it's legal. So it wouldn't be a controversy. What was the big deal? The last song we are going to talk about is Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett. Now, you cannot talk about summer without talking about Jimmy Buffett. He is basically summer personified. His whole career, he actually spent time working on a ship, working on a yacht. When he talks about yachts, he knows what he's talking about. He perfected that sort of what they call Western Calypso sound. And Margaritaville is the perfect example of how Jimmy Buffett came to be synonymous with pirates and beaches and burgers and margaritas. The song came from his album Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes. This song was written about a drink that Buffett discovered at Lung's Cochina del Sur restaurant in Austin, Texas, and the first huge surge of tourists who descended on Key West, Florida around that time. He wrote most of the song one night at a friend's house in Austin, and then he finished it while spending time in Key West. So named for the cocktail margarita, and with lyrics that reflect a really laid back lifestyle, has come to define Jimmy Buffett's music and his career. Like I said before, he is the personification of Margaritaville. There's lots of popular music and pop culture references to Margaritaville. That basically cements the song as a legend in our musical culture. The song was mentioned by Blake Shelton in his song Some Beach. What I love about the song is just kind of that laid back way you get when it's about halfway through your vacation and most of your nights have been spent out partying, and then you're laying on the beach all day. After about the third or fourth night of that, you get a little sick of it and you're like, oh man, I kind of just need to chill. I'm going to chill tomorrow, guys. And then you go home and you're like, but there's booze in the blender. That frozen concoction that helps me hang on. So maybe not. Maybe I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'm going to go home and have another one. That's what I love about Margaritaville. It just captures that particular moment. But I also love the song because in the end, he actually takes accountability for whatever his situation is. And he's like, some people say that there's a woman to blame, but I know it's my own damn fault. The song reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. It went to number 1 on the Easy Listening chart. It peaked at number 13 on the Hot Country charts. Here's the thing about Jimmy Buffett. I don't really feel like Jimmy Buffett can be put into a genre. I feel like he kind of is his own genre, and I have a couple of artists that kind of fall into that category. Like Bruce Springsteen, for instance. I feel like he just is his own genre, and people go, oh, well, he's rock and roll. But when he first hit the music scene, he wasn't. There wasn't any such thing as John Cougar Mellencamp and blue collar rock. Like, that didn't exist. And so I feel like Bruce Springsteen is just sort of his own genre in that respect. And the same goes, I kind of feel the same way about Jimmy Buffett. It's like, it's really hard to classify him as like country or rock or pop. Billboard ranked it number 14 on its 1977 pop singles year-end chart, and it remains Jimmy Buffett's highest charting solo single. This is our cotton candy beach look for today. I didn't want to do anything really heavy or super glam. I just kind of wanted to keep it light. I kind of wanted to keep it like, ooh, piece of candy.
Ooh, piece of candy.
I'm going to do foundation. I'm going to finish up that under eye, and we'll be back to recap. Okay, and here's our final summer look for our pop music, makeup and music Monday summer jams. Let's talk about the makeup real quick. Ultimately, what I ended up doing, I did use the Ice Cream palette. I used the BH Colori Vivace. This blue right here. I ended up pulling in clutch this Nomad Tokyo palette because I felt like this purple up here might help. The purple in the Ice Cream palette didn't really wasn't really coming through for me, so I used that. I've got this on that upper inner corner, and I've got this one over here just on that outer corner under the eyebrow. And I ended up pulling in the Glam Light Ice Cream Chuck one more time. I love this palette. It's so summer. I just grabbed a little bit of this pink just for that inside. So those are the 4 palettes that went into making this one look. Okay, let's recap our music. All right, the first song we talked about was Kokomo by the Beach Boys. This was a song that was released in 1988 for the film Cocktail, starring Tom Cruise and Brian Brown. The song was released as a single on July 18th of 19 of 1988. It was a #1 hit in the US, and it was nominated for Grammy Award for Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, but it was nudged out by Phil Collins. He nudged a lot of people out that year for Two Hearts for the film Buster. Next song we talked about was Endless Summer Nights by Richard Marx. The track was actually a demo track from his demo tape. He said that this was the song that every record company in the business rejected in 1985 and 1986. He was signed in 1986 to EMI Manhattan Records. The song was released in January of 1988, the third single off of his debut solo album. It reached #2 in April of that year, behind Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. Spent 2 weeks there. It spent 2 weeks behind Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up on the American Billboard Adult Contemporary charts. This song is all about just summer love, summer days, waiting for the nights when you can kind of go out together, hang out, do lots of fun things. And that's why I absolutely love it. Check out Richard Marx. I think he's kind of underrated. This was one of his best, Endless Summer Nights. The next song I'm going to talk about is California Girls, originally recorded by the Beach Boys in 1965 from their summer album, Summer Days, Summer Nights. It reached #3 on the Billboard Hot 100. My favorite iteration of the song is David Lee Roth's cover of it in 1985. And I love the video of it because it is all about the beach and the girls. And let's face it, those Southern California girls are really gorgeous. So if you're watching, the cover by David Lee Roth reached, like the original Beach Boys song, #3 on the Billboard Hot 100. The next song we talked about was All Summer Long by Kid Rock. There's a whole bunch of people credited with writing this song because it samples Night Moves, Sweet Home Alabama, and Werewolves of London. So there's like 6 people credited with writing this song. It was a #1 hit in Australia and 6 other countries in Europe. Surprisingly, it only reached #85 here on the Billboard Hot 100, but it reached 14 on the Billboard Top 40 charts. That said, it was Kid Rock's first country hit, reaching #10 on the Billboard Hot Country. The last song we talked about was Margaritaville by the ultimate beach bum, Jimmy Buffett. This was released in 1977 as a single off of his album Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes, which is also another great song. It was written about a drink that Buffett discovered in a bar in Austin. He wrote part of the song in Austin, and then he wrote the rest of the song when he was spending some time in Key West about the first giant influx of tourists in Key West for the season. The song has been ubiquitous in pop culture, in pop music. It's often referenced, kind of like Blake Shelton did in his 2004 song Some Beach. It has cemented its place as a classic in our pop music. It reached #8 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it remains Jimmy Buffett's highest charting solo single. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time looking at all these songs, looking at all these great videos. I hope that you're having fun with this series, and I hope you are getting ready for this summer. It is coming, and getting ready to get out there and do all the things we were not allowed to do last year. I hope wherever you are, you're having a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, or a great night. And I hope you're taking care of yourself so that you can get out there this summer. I hope that you are taking care of each other. And as always, I will see you in my next one. Bye, y'all.
Louboutin dripping, bleeding out my sneaks. Throw my crown at your face in case you forgot I was king. I hope it leaves a mark if you forget where you're destined to be. Higher than wings, flying outside of desert Syria.